Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 10th episode of the podcast Shaping a Fairer World. Today, I have with me Dr. Ariel Rosita King. She is the founder of Ariel Foundation International, Women Impacting Public Policy (WIPP), and organizes AFI Changemaker events, which have been held at the United Nations. The Ariel Foundation International is a non governmental organization founded in 2002. The foundation promotes partnerships, peace, and prosperity through entrepreneurship via education, experience through service, leadership, and support of children, young people, and the communities worldwide. I am proud to say that I am an active member of AFI. I represent AFI at UN as the youth representative. Hello, ma'am.
Good evening. Wonderful to speak with you today.
It's wonderful. I hope it's not late for you. I think so. It's like 11 or 10 around where you live.
You, yes, well, anywhere in the world, it could be night or morning, so it really doesn't matter. I'm very, very happy to have this opportunity to speak with you and also to speak with the many guests that will be listening to your podcast.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for agreeing to do this
Thank you for
podcast to
having
me.
me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. So I have just got through a little introduction that I thought about you, and I wrote it from websites. So can you please like tell more about yourself to our listeners and viewers?
Sure. I think what I'd like to say to young people, especially, is that there's no one way to find what you're good at and what you love and what you're successful at. Not everybody has to go through the same courses or the same school, and not everybody has to do the same thing. I think it's so important for young people to find what you love, what's important to you, what speaks to you, what makes you get up in the morning.
Yeah.
And if I have to say anything about myself, it's that I try, even at my age now, to do what speaks to me, to put my time and energy and into what I love and what I think is important. So that's about me as a person. And also, I don't believe that you have to give up on your
Mhm.
ideas. Maybe they don't work the first or second time, but that's okay. It's not necessarily a failure. It's in process. All of life is in a process. And no matter
Yeah.
how much you think that maybe what you've done is not correct or it's failure, it's not failure. One step always leads to the next, and
Mm.
likely will lead to whatever it is that any of you are thinking about or dreaming of. And I say that as a person because if you want to know more about me, that's the way I think. So everything that I do has this type of thought in it.
Sure.
And our foundation says, it says, if I'm not for myself, who will be for me? If
Yeah.
I am only for
Exactly.
myself, what am I? And if not now, then when? This is by a philosopher called Hillel. And I added, if not me, then who? And this is the
Mm.
way I live my life, not just work in the foundation.
That's such a good. Maybe we can just like change our question to what's the passion that drives you? That way it will be more like
Oh, goodness, the
research.
passion that drives me. Wonderful people like you. I mean, how can that not happen? Look, I get to meet people
Thank you.
like you that are passionate about what you do. But I believe that I was given a lot of time and energy as a young person, and people around me believed in me. They showed me consideration and respect for my ideas and what I thought, and implementing um, some of the things that I wanted to do. And I was very fortunate because I never really had people look at me as an age. You know, you are a teenager, or you are, um, in your 20s. They never did that. They looked at me for who I am, and for my energy and my positiveness, and just for the fact that I just wanted to learn and do things. And that's made a big impact in my life. And as a result, I do the same with young people because this is what was done for me.
Yeah.
So I'd say my passion is doing everything I can to open up doors for young people so
Mhm.
that all of you can not just sit at the table, but also contribute to the betterment of our world in any and every way possible. And so my passion is that every young person has an opportunity to participate in their own world, whether it's local, in the village, in the town, whether it's in the country, international, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you grow and thrive. It
Yeah.
only matters that you participate. So that's what
Participation
inspires
is the
me, young
key.
people like you.
Thank
That's
you
right.
so much.
That's right.
That
That's
it's one of
right.
the places from where I got motivated to like have a thought in my mind. It's like it's for the youth basically, like nothing about us without us. So that's one of the places from,
Absolutely.
yeah. So, since you're the founder of Ariel Foundation International, and I'm also an active member of AFI, I think so it will be better to know from the founder what AFI is and how it is supporting youth like me all over the world.
Okay. Well, when we started Ariel Foundation International, it was started as a result of frustration. You know, many times, many of us start businesses, we start whatever it is because we feel that somehow something better can be done, or we can do it better, or somehow we're not seeing what we want to see. And I, at the time, was working, I had a consulting, and I was working with some diplomats. And we were sitting together in one of the offices of a diplomat, talking about how we were frustrated with the fact that we saw funding going to various countries, but barely
Hmm.
reaching the majority of the people that lived outside of the cities.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, decided to start AFI, which specifically would, when we started 18 years ago, give 100% of donations directly to programs, usually outside of the big cities, directly
Mm.
to
To
children and
rural
youth
areas.
and their families. Exactly. I wouldn't call them rural, but definitely not just the main city. You know, you
Yeah.
can go
Mm.
outside 1 hour outside of the main city and see a lot of need, or even 2 hours outside the main city. So it's not necessarily rural, but just not the capital. And so we started that 18 years ago, and we've always had a focus on leadership and entrepreneurship and community service for young people, because we believe that young people do lead, can lead. Young people can make something from nothing. That's what
Mm.
entrepreneurship, and even more importantly, young people can contribute to their communities and do. And
Young
so our
people are the
foundation at
future
the time
leaders.
focused on that. Exactly. No, I have to say, I don't believe as future leaders. I think that's a misnomer. I don't believe that. I think that young people are leaders now. I don't believe that it's the future. I believe it's now. Um, every time a
That's
young person sticks up for someone who's being bullied, every time a young person decides that they're going to take the path of being positive, or they're going to do something that's for the betterment of themselves and their community, that's leadership. I mean, leadership is not this big grand scale thing that knocks you over. Leadership is in every day, in every minute, your decisions of what you decide to do with your life, how you decide to react to other people, how you decide to engage in your community and your society. That's leadership. So I see that every day. Young people are not future leaders. Young people are leaders now.
young people are the present leaders. Let's change the statement from now
That's
on.
right. Every day, every day, every day. Leadership is in the doing. It's not a goal to get
Exactly.
to. It's an active word.
That's
Right.
so true. That's so
Yeah.
inspirational too.
Good. I'm happy to
So,
hear that. And people are
uh,
quite inspirational to me.
thank you. Like I think so every young person will be saying thank you to you right now and like thinking of it how to like collaborate with such a big and wonderful person like you.
No, you're
Uh,
kind. As I said, I had the same mentorship. I was quite fortunate. So I've had the same.
well, great. So right now, what we are seeing in the world, like the whole lockdown and quarantine and COVID-19 stuff that's happening in the world, what reforms do you think are needed in the world right now?
Oh goodness, this is. I mean, let's just stay on the same track of what young people, right? So,
Hmm.
um, I think what was really clear to me during the our continuous difficulties with the coronavirus, is that um, I believe that we, and I'm going to say we as older people, fail to recognize brilliance within young people. If you look at many medical innovations came from those that were under 21, under 18. You now have a young man that decided that he had family members that had colon cancer, and he was going to figure out another way to figure out whether or not someone had colon cancer. I believe he's a teenager. And I believe that, at least with the coronavirus, that young people, we have not engaged you all. And when I say engaged, I mean look towards you for not just solutions, but support to actually figure out how to get through this together. I think that instead of young people being brought along in partnership, and I mean, together with all in local areas and not just internationally, I think instead all of you have been just expected to just go along, just adapt. And I think that's been a mistake, because I really believe that if we would have engaged, and when I mean engaged, I'm saying recognize that young people are part of solutions. Young people are part of life. Just pretty much nothing about us without us. And I think that not just the quote unquote lockdown, but also ways to engage people to get them actively help themselves and help their community would have been better. And so I think that we really missed out. I think we could have done better just with the engagement of young people. And engagement also means getting opinions, working together, not just assuming that all of you should do exactly what we all think you should do. It's hard to explain, but I just don't feel like young people were engaged.
I get what you're trying to mean.
Yeah. I just feel like you were told, stay inside. We'll tell you when you can come out, and we really don't need your participation or your input.
Yeah.
I just feel like, I'm not sure that that's what happened, but this is what it feels like to me.
Yeah. I get what you're trying to say about the whole stay inside. We'll call you out when you need it, and
Right.
it's pretty hard for young people to stay inside all the time, because like we're going out to schools, we're going out to play in the parks and stuff, and all of a sudden we are inside our home for like 6 months, 5 months.
It's pretty difficult, and they've also found out that, unfortunately, it's resulted in more young people facing all types of family issues, family difficulties. Of course, there's a lot of economic stress. People not working, even if you've had a middle class life before, people not working, it changes life drastically. People within the house, wherever they are, family members, extended family members being stressed. And unfortunately, for those who don't have such a good life, many an increase in the violence against children. I can say that in homes as a result of the lockdown, and unfortunately, an increase of young people not having any outlet to address some of the issues that are going on in their homes
the
as
mental
a result
health
of the lockdown, right? And there's no one there. That's why I think that if we would have engaged young people, hear what they have to say, what do you think about? I think we could have done so much better in lockdown with mental health, with emotional health. It's not healthy for anybody to be locked down, but especially children and teens. This is the time, and this is a time in your lives where you want to go out and get out and do many things and be active, and not to be able to see your friends. And this is the most important time for friends. I remember my friends, believe it or not, I have a picture of my friends from high school, and that was 40 something years ago. I have a poem with a picture that's in my office of the friends I went to school with in high school. And I'm in my 50s, and guess what? Oh wait, late 50s, excuse me. And I still have pictures of my friends from when I was 15 in a poem. So I guess what I'm saying is, this time is so important for young people to be around those that are important to them. It's really important for young people to be around other young people. It's a very, very important part of life. So it's been difficult. And I think the fact that young people have not been asked, what do you think we can do? And they have not participated has made it even more more difficult. I think when you feel like you have more control, and not just control, but you have more of a stake if somebody asks you, well, what do you think, or how can we engage in this? How can we make it better? But that didn't happen. And I find that quite disappointing, because I think all of us would have had a better experience if we would have done that, if we would have
Yeah.
worked with young people and assumed that they're part of the solution rather than just an additional part of the problem.
Yeah, that's such true, because like now the young people's mental health is also being affected, and with the whole mental health,
Absolutely.
like mental health is also one of the biggest issue in today's world. Like, so to all the people that are listening right now, if you want to know about the whole how to tackle mental health, you can listen to the seventh episode of this podcast with one of the mental health counselor. She's also one of my mentor, and listen to that podcast, and then you'll know, because in that podcast I've talked about mental health and COVID-19. So
That's
since coming
I'm
back.
really happy you've actually had someone on to speak about that. I think it's extremely important. And I think it's important for young people to know and understand that when we're talking about mental health, we're not talking about something wrong with your health. It's the same
Mhm.
as physical health, getting sun, getting exercise, eating nutritious
Yeah,
food.
exactly.
It's this, so it's really, really important.
Thank you so much for that. And since coming back to this episode, since we're talking about children and youth right now, so um, how do you think like COVID-19 threatens children rights, and like what can we do, or like the governments do to the big organizations do to protect them?
Yes, I think that's a very good question. I think you have to start with the basis of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNC, that has been signed by every single country in the world and only not ratified yet in the United States of America. So basically, it's been signed in America. So as far as I'm concerned, if it's been signed, then it should be pretty much a law. And the United
Yeah.
Nations Convention of the Rights of the Child is very specific about what children need, and this is anybody under 18 years old for development, and um, the the issue of participation, but not just participation, being able to go out and have fun, physical activity, education, all of these are quite
Hmm.
important. And the fact that lockdown has really limited education, and many people had to do it if they could by internet,
Yeah.
has brought on other issues of inequity, and including people not having access to the internet, people not having access to devices, some children needing more time and energy of explanation, some parents not able to, I mean, many children in many countries speak more than one language. They go to school in a different language than what's spoken in their homes. Um, so when you look at the whole coronavirus and the lockdown, you see that if you look at the rights of people in general, I mean, if you look at men, women, children, it looks as if the children's rights, more than any others, have been, I won't say
Hmm.
violated, but I would say has not been in the forefront of thought of what needs to be done. And it continues to today. It continues today. There are many countries that put children on lockdown for not even for fresh air. They couldn't even get out for fresh air for a month or 2 months. That's analogous to actually putting a child in a prison, even though it's not a prison. It's this type
It
of
feels like
feeling. This
prison.
absolutely, and absolutely, and it is. It's taking your liberty to
Mm.
move, your liberty to go out, your liberty to see other people. And education is very important, because education is not just about learning; it's about experiencing and being together and doing things together. And
Experimenting.
yes, it's life. It's part of young people's lives. It's almost like saying, well, suppose you decide to take away everything that all of us are used to doing every day, and it
Hmm.
was difficult for us. So just imagine where you have absolutely no control and no say in any of it.
Yeah.
I think it's quite difficult. So in general, I think that many countries looking at trying to stop the spread of the coronavirus have done everything they can to look at the public health issue, but and as a result of that, and the result of emergency, have left behind the issue of children's rights. So, in my personal belief, and this is just my personal belief, I believe that children's rights have not been adhered to. And it's quite unfortunate, but I would say that there's been very little consideration to children's rights. And as a result, I think we're going to see some really difficult days ahead, months ahead, even maybe years with young people's mental health, depression, um, uh,
Anxieties.
anxiety, right? All of these type of maybe having some fears, fears of death, fears of basically the whole world came to an end in one day.
Yeah.
On a Friday, you were told, okay, by Friday, everything's going to be locked down and that's going to be it. So, could we have done better? Yes. Should we have done better? Yes. We should have done better, but we didn't. And so it's up to all you young people also to figure out ways to support yourselves. You all can build networks with yourselves to help yourselves through anxiety, depression, self-doubt, bullying. If anybody can do it, you can all do it. And most likely you'll all be able to support each other better than we could support all of you.
Yeah, you're
Because you
right.
understand what it's like. You understand what it feels like. You are living it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm really glad that like me and my friends are like able to connect with each other through like internet. But like thinking about children like areas where they don't have proper internet connections, or like they don't have proper devices. So that's where the whole mental health problem starts to
Right.
come. And I think like the education government, or like the education board in my area, is doing a pretty good job in it, because like um through their website only, I found out that they have given out around like 14,500 internet enabled devices to the children, where they don't have like proper internet connection, so that they can continue their education that is going to be online. So that's one of the pretty good thing that Canadian education board has done. Uh, so my next question to you is like, what must be done to build back better post COVID-19?
I think what do we do to build? I would first say the first thing we need to do to build is to make sure that we absolutely positively include young people in every single possible important decision
Yeah.
about how we go forward as a community, as a city, as an area, as a country. And I think not doing that is a very, very big mistake. I also understand that many people don't know how to engage young people. They literally don't know how to ask for opinions. They don't know how to. Many people don't even realize that you can directly ask a young person their opinion and they'll give them to you. It's really amazing. All of us were young ones, and we're lucky that we've gotten to the age that we have now. And it's, for whatever reason, we seem to forget who we were. We forget how bright we were, how enthusiastic we were, all that we had to offer that many people didn't want to take, you know? And I believe in the post COVID-19, one of the most important ask young people what it was like for them. First of all, how was it? How did you survive it? And in some way recognize their thoughts and feelings about what happened, and then ask them, how can we make it better? How can we make it better after the virus, and how can we make it better if we ever have to go through this again? What can we do?
Mhm.
And how can we do it? And then also to engage young people to help to do it. It's
Yeah.
really simple. We're missing out on a lot when we don't have all of you helping to do what's needed in society. You have the ability, you have the desire, so why not?
Yeah. So the main question that I got from that, I think really important, is how to be ready if something like this ever happens again. Uh,
Can I ask,
yeah.
can you ever be ready for the unimaginable?
You you cannot be
I
ready,
think
but
that
you can be prepared for it.
right. I think it's going to be hard to be ready for it, but I really do believe that. So let me say this to young people. When
Mhm.
you see that we who have the power and control to make things are not engaging you, and you see that somehow you're being left out, guess what? You all have the power that no other generations have had before. You can connect to each other all over the world, and you can actually put in place what's missing. So if I had to say, if there's anything that I would say that you can do when the unexpected comes and the outrageous possibilities of life, is that you all have the possibility of changing the outcome, of changing what happens to all of you as young people, connecting together, working together, and making it better for all of you. You have that possibility.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. Um, so I guess that's it for the podcast. Do you have any final thoughts or messages that you would like to share with the audience?
Yes, I think I just have one.
Hmm.
One of my dreams and passions is that children and young people will be asked to join all kinds of committees and boards and just sitting around the table and making decisions. And I love what you said was nothing about us without us. And I
Thank you.
really believe that within 10, most likely less than 10 years, um, the movement for children and youth empowerment is going to go the same way as the movement for women have come. You know, gender
Yeah.
issues. Now you wouldn't even think about having a committee, or you wouldn't even think about having issues that specifically affect females or women without females or women there. It would just wouldn't happen. And if it did, you say,
Yeah.
but these decisions aren't legitimate because the people who they're for are not being involved. And I believe and I know for a fact that the same thing is going to happen with young people. And it's going to be extremely important for young people to be ready. And how would you be ready? Don't wait for an invitation. Knock on the door yourself. Say, I'd like to be a part of this. Don't wait for somebody to ask you, would you like? You know, those that change history don't wait for someone to ask them whether or not they want to change history. They just do it.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's you young people doing it. So I really believe that within the time to come, what's going to happen is that we're going to need young people. Young people are going to be imperative to decisions that we make and even evaluations and how we go forward. And that young people need to be ready to just say what they think and use their creativity, their know-how to contribute it to their societies in whatever way they want to. There's so many ways you can all contribute.
Yeah. You need to just find a way to contribute to the society, and there are like
Right.
a lot of things that you can contribute in, like right now in this moment also, like in content, they're like online projects, just like you can do some of your own courses, like things that you're passionate about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, go.
Absolutely. You can, we had publications. I think we had a coronavirus and young persons publication, but you can write about it. You can do what you're doing, podcasts. You can find other people just within your small community to quote unquote hook up with, to contact people that you never thought of talking to before. All of a sudden, you can make a group. There's so much that you can do. But this generation, more than any other generation in our entire history, has a connectedness and a togetherness with people from around the world that we never had. And you might as well use it. This is new, but this is something that's going to stay the same. This connectedness between us, no matter where we are in the world.
Mhm. Wow, that was a very lovely way to end our podcast. That was such a strong and powerful lines that
Thank you.
maybe we can just write a whole paragraph about it and like publish it in our next publications.
Thank you. I would love to. Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you
And
so much.
I want to thank for all you young people out there, and thank you once again for inviting me. You know how we feel about you. You're an amazing young man, and we are so grateful that you are representing children at the United Nations for us. We're all quite fortunate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Good
Bye.
night. Bonne nuit.
Good night.
Adios.
Adios.
Ciao.